So you're thinking about moving to Boca Raton, Florida. Well, in this video, I'm going to take you for a Google Maps tour of our city so you can see everything I think you need to see to get familiar with our community. I'm going to talk to you about stuff like restaurants, neighborhoods, the good areas, the bad areas, downtowns, and even beaches. So let's get into it right now. If this is your first time to the channel and you want to know everything there is to know about eating, sleeping, working, playing here in South Florida, and specifically in this video, Boca Raton, Florida, then hit the subscribe button below, tap the bell for notifications, and you will be the first one to know about all the things that are going on in our area here in South Florida. My name is Larry Mastropieri. I'm the broker owner of the Mastropieri Group based right here in Boca Raton, Florida. And the team and I get messages from people like yourself every day thinking about making the move to South Florida, and we absolutely love it. So whether you're moving in 9 days or 90 days, don't hesitate to reach out. Give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email. We'd love to be the ones to help you make a smooth move to South Florida. And now, as I mentioned, we're going to take you for a tour of Boca Raton, Florida from a Google Maps perspective. So let's go do that right now. Now, as I'm pulling up the map here real quick, let me tell you what the city of Boca Raton's vision statement is. It's to foster a beautiful, prosperous, safe, and vibrant coastal community. And after living here for 20 years, I would say I agree that they are doing a good job of executing on these core values. And I think if you came here, visited, and or moved here, you would agree with that statement too. All right, so here we are on the Google map. We're looking at Boca Raton, Florida. And the first thing I'd like to do when I start these Google Map tours is show you Boca Raton, Florida's proximity to the surrounding cities. So let's talk about that. Boca Raton, Florida is the city located furthest south in Palm Beach County. It borders Broward County to its south. It's directly in between West Palm Beach to its north, which is about 30 minutes away, depending on traffic, and Fort Lauderdale to its south, which is also about 30 minutes away, depending on traffic. It's about an hour away from Miami. And so what's nice about Boca Raton is that it's kind of positioned right in between everything that's going on in South Florida, which gives you the advantage of access to a lot of things. Also, Boca Raton is located directly in between Deerfield Beach to its south and Delray Beach to its north. Both those two cities have a lot going on as well, some really cool downtowns, some really nice beaches, so that's also really nice. Boca Raton is positioned in a prime spot here in South Florida. Let's quickly touch on Boca Raton's proximity to other major cities in Florida because I think, at least from my experience, other people from outside of the state don't really recognize how big Florida is. Florida is a very big state. And occasionally I get calls from friends saying, hey, I'm in Florida, let's get together. And they tell me where they're at. And I'm like, hey man, you're like 5 hours away. So let's talk about Orlando specifically. Boca Raton is about 2.5 to 3 hours from Orlando, depending on where you're going. It's about 4 hours to Tampa. It's about 5 to 6 hours to Jacksonville. It takes about 2 hours to get to the Florida Keys, which is great. And it takes about 4 hours to get all the way to Key West if you're going to drive all the way down there. And then finally, which I think is awesome, the southeast coast of Florida here is very close to the Bahamas. So it takes you very short amounts of time, depending on where you're going, to get to any of the Bahamian islands, whether you're taking a boat or a plane. It's just awesome and worth checking out if you live in the area for sure. Now, as I just mentioned, Boca Raton is located in between West Palm Beach, Fort Lauderdale, and Miami, which also means it's located in between 3 major airports, which means it's super efficient to fly any airline anytime you need, and the access to any of these airlines is very easy as well. So that is a great advantage for living in South Florida in general. Also, quickly worth mentioning, the city of Boca Raton does have its own airport. It's like 2-3 miles from the beach, which is really cool. It's located right here in between 95 and Florida Atlantic University. It's great if you fly private. It's also great if you want to learn how to fly and get your private pilot's license like I did. It was a great experience. I learned how to fly right here in the city of Boca Raton. Now let's continue on the map tour here. Let me briefly touch on the city of Boca Raton's geography. I think the city is very unique and special because it has a lot of public beach frontage here in the city, and along that public beach frontage is parks and green space, which is really special. Let me show you it right here on the map. Early on in the city's history, before it was significantly developed, like in the 60s and 70s, the city of Boca Raton made a decision to designate a lot of the beachfront as parks, which is very different from what some of the other cities did. And because of that decision, there was not a lot of condo development right on the beachfront in specific areas in our city here in Boca Raton. And because of that, we now have a ton of green space and very beautiful beaches that are accessible to the public with parks and other things in that area, which is just, I think, a significant advantage for our city over some of the other comparable cities in the area. Another geographic advantage that I think the city of Boca Raton has is it has an inlet. So if you're a boater and you're traveling on the Intracoastal here, as you can see on the map, and you want to get access to the ocean, you can go through the Boca Raton Inlet right here very easily. The city of Boca Raton also is in between two other inlets, the Hillsborough Inlet here to the south and the Boynton Beach Inlet here to the north. So typically, waterfront property here in the city of Boca Raton is more valuable than other waterfront property in other areas that does not have this quick proximity to ocean access. So that is a huge feature for the city of Boca Raton, and that helps drive values up significantly for waterfront property here in the city. All right, check this out real quick too. I think this is worth mentioning. The city of Boca Raton's intercoastal waterways are skinnier than some of the other cities in the area. And you might say, why are we talking about the size or width of the intercoastal waterways? Well, I think it's important because it defines how big the bridges are. And depending on how big the bridges are, you may or may not want to walk, bike, or run across a bridge if you live on the mainland. But in the city of Boca Raton, since they're so small, it's very easy to live on the mainland like I do and cross the bridge via walking, biking, or running anytime you want. And so that, I think, adds a bit of value to the property on the mainland here. And check this out. The city of Boca Raton has 3 intercoastal waterway bridges from the mainland to the island. One is at Camino Real. The other one is at Palmetto Park Road right in downtown. And then one further to the north here on the map you can see is Spanish River Boulevard. So 3 intercoastal bridges, which is more than most cities have. So I think that also adds value to property in the area. Now let's take a look at the city limits of Boca Raton right here on the map. If you live outside of these city limits, you are considered to be living in unincorporated Boca Raton. Some people don't even know the difference. You still have a Boca Raton address. One perk to living in the city, and I've done a video on this, so you can check this out after this video, is you get annual passes to certain parks if you live in the city limits, and you could pay like $70-ish to get a park pass for a year, and you get access to beaches and parks anytime you want without having to pay, which is really coveted here in the area. Now, most people divide Boca Raton into 3 different sections: East Boca, Central Boca, West Boca. East Boca is 95 to the ocean, Central Boca is 95 to the turnpike, and West Boca is the turnpike all the way to the Everglades. Why does defining these areas matter? Well, if you're particular about the type of location you want to live in, I think it matters. The price of the homes, the age of the homes, and the type of the neighborhoods are different in these 3 different areas. Let's take a look at the map here, and we can look at Central Boca and West Boca and kind of compare it to East Boca. Out west, you typically see more master plan developments, more HOAs, more gated neighborhoods. Most of the homes are in the 1980s, 1990s, early 2000s. There's some new construction in the 2020s. So that typically means the homes in Central and West Boca have higher ceilings than the East. They also have different construction. They might have PVC drain lines in the West as compared to in the East might have cast iron drain lines, because the cutoff there was like the 1980s when they switched the construction materials. So that's another thing to keep in mind. And then typically you get a little bit more house for your money out west. So that's worth keeping in mind too. And you'll notice that if you're shopping in the area. And then access to the beach is about 25 to 30 minutes out west versus out east, 5, 10, 15 minutes tops. And Central Boca tends to be in that sweet spot of like 15, 20 minutes. Now, if you want the downtown lifestyle, Being out west is probably not going to achieve that. If you live in the east, you'll get close to that 10, 15 minutes away tops. And out west, you'll be 20 to 30 minutes away from the downtown lifestyle. So these are all things to kind of think about when you're thinking about east, central, and west Boca. So let's go to the map. Let me show you, starting from furthest east to west, the roads here in Boca Raton. We'll start with A1A. This is the road that moves north to south on the island right along the beach. The next road is Federal Highway. Federal Highway is also known as Route 1 in other parts of the country. Locally, we all refer to it as Federal Highway. The next road is Dixie Highway. And then the next road after that is 95. It's a major highway here in South Florida. The next road is Military Trail. And then after that, we have Jog/Powerline. They're both the same road. They just change names in different areas here in South Florida. The next road is the Turnpike, another major highway here in South Florida. And then the furthest west, north to south road is 441. Now let's start at the top of Boca, the furthest north part of Boca, and we'll look at those roads. So here is Yamato moving east to west. That's one of the major roads here in Boca, moving east to west. The next road, as we move further south, is Spanish River, which is worth mentioning because it has a bridge access to the island, to the beach. The next road worth mentioning is Glades Road here. Glades Road is one of the major roads here in the city of Boca Raton, or in Boca Raton in general. It's one of the busiest roads here. The next road, also very busy, is Palmetto Park Road. That takes you right into downtown Boca Raton. The next road is Camino Real. And again, smaller road, but worth mentioning because it has a bridge that takes you to the island. And then the last road is Southwest 18th. This is the furthest road to the south here in Boca Raton. Now, I hope this overview helps familiarize yourself with the major roads here in the city and can help you get a better understanding of how to think about the city of Boca Raton. Let me give you some quick stats about the city of Boca Raton. The population is about 100,000. The growth in the population has been about 1% or greater per year since 2010. So the city has had a very healthy growth rate over the past 12, 13 years. It's the 27th largest city in the state of Florida, and the average household income is about $138,000. So that's pretty substantial. Now, the city of Boca Raton's financial position is very strong. It has a AAA bond rating. And the city has been really pushing hard by focusing on innovation and technology and economic development here. There are a large number of employers here in the area, and specifically Office Depot has their global headquarters here in Boca Raton, Florida, and they're a Fortune 500 company. Quick fun fact for you, Boca Raton was the birthplace of the personal computer. It's also been called in the past the Silicon Shore because it used to be the headquarters of IBM. Because of South Florida's location and proximity to Latin America, this area definitely serves as the headquarters for Latin American operations for well over 1,000 multinational corporations. And some of those are Sony, Disney, Exxon, and even Oracle. Now let's chat about the outdoors. Let's talk about parks and beaches. And there's just so many of them here in Boca Raton. Let's get into it. Let's start on the northeast corner of Boca Raton and talk about Spanish River Park and Beach. It's a great park. It's deceivingly big. You don't realize how much green space there is and how many activities and features that this park has until you're actually inside. What's really nice about this park is you can walk under the tunnels to go to the beach, which is cool. So you don't have to cross over A1A. The other cool thing about this park is there's a kayak, paddleboard, and canoe launch ramp area right here on the map, as you can see. And when you come out of the kayak and canoe and paddleboard area, there's a huge area called Lake Rogers and Lake Wyman that's very pretty to kayak and paddleboard and do all those water activities in the Intracoastal. So that's something that's really unique about Spanish River Park specifically. They also have volleyball, you can grill, you can do a lot of those other things there. And there's just a lot to do in this park, and it's really nice. The next place I want to show you here on the map is the Gumbo Limbo Nature Center. It's just south of Spanish River Park, as you can see here on the map. It's on the island. It's really cool. There's a ton of green space, and it's owned and operated by the city of Boca Raton. It's a research center and a rehabilitation center. It has affiliations with Florida Atlantic University, and they do a lot of studies, and they help sea turtles and other sea life that needs rehabilitation. And you can go into the facility and check out what they're doing. You can learn a lot about sea life. You can see a lot of the sea life in the area. Kids love it here. My niece absolutely loves it. And there's a lot of green space and walking paths that you can kind of check out while you're there. So this is definitely another cool spot worth checking out here in Boca Raton. Next, you can basically walk here across the street to Red Reef Park. Red Reef Park is pretty neat because it has a 9-hole public golf course right there. You can jump on the City of Boca Raton's website and schedule a tee time, which is usually pretty easy to get access to, in my opinion. And then once you're done golfing, you can go right to the beach. There's also some snorkeling on Red Reef Park that I've experienced. I think it's pretty cool too. So this whole little area is another great little park/beach to check out if you're in the area. Now, if we keep moving here south on the map, we will bump into South Beach Park. South Beach Park is the most popular beach here in Boca Raton. It's typically the busiest park. You can see it spans all the way from Palmetto Park Road, basically, up to Red Reef Park. You can see here on the map, this is the pavilion. There's some parking there, but there's a lot of parking within the park itself. And usually if you don't have a pass from the city, you will have to pay $35 a day. If you are a resident of the city, then you get to pay an annual fee of $70 or something like that. And you can pull right in there and park, which is really efficient. And then if you want to grab a bite to eat while you're at the park, or you want to just spend some time, grab some ice cream, whatever, you can walk back across A1A down Palmetto Park Road, and there's some restaurants and some things going on over there that you can grab some food at. This park is really nice. It also is the busiest in the area. Now let's move a little west here, and I'll show you some of the more interior parks in the area. Sugar Sand Park is a really great one. It's pretty popular in the area, especially if you have kids. There's a carousel, there's nature trails, there's a science area, there's a theater. There's a lot going on inside that park, and there's a lot of activities. And typically, if you have kids, you probably will end up at Sugar Sand Park at some point. The next park that I think is worth mentioning is Patch Reef Park right here on the map. It has a lot of sports fields such as soccer, tennis, pickleball now too, baseball fields, fitness trails. They do a lot of intramural games, pickup games, all that good stuff is going on over here at this park. Now let's move further west on the map, and let's talk about a really big park, South County Regional Park. This is a massive park out west. It's about 847 acres. It has everything: lit athletic facilities. It's got a water park, a nature center, amphitheater. It's got a golf course. You can launch your boats, motored boats, onto the lake here in that area. It's a great park, a lot of space, a lot of activities. While we're on the topic of parks, let's quickly transition to golf courses here. There are a significant amount of golf courses here in the city of Boca Raton, but a lot of them are private with private club memberships. There's a lot of country club communities here in Boca Raton. There are some public golf courses. Let me talk to you about a few of those real quick. Let me first show you here on the map Red Reef Golf Course, which I mentioned just a little bit ago when we talked about Red Reef Park. Red Reef Golf Course is a 9-hole golf course. It's really nice. It's right on the beach. I love this golf course because I'm not a great golfer, and this is really fun to quickly hit 9 holes and then go right to the beach after I'm done. So cool place, worth checking out. Awesome to kind of just golf right on the beach here. The next one worth mentioning here is the Boca Raton Golf and Racquet Club. This is a newer golf course for the city of Boca Raton. It was recently donated. They're undergoing a $7 million renovation, so when this is done, it's going to be really nice. The next one I want to show you on the map is the last one here, which is Osprey Point Golf Course, all the way out west, borders the Everglades, relatively a much bigger golf course than the other two we just mentioned. Now let me show you where all the fun stuff is here in the city on the map, such as downtown, shopping, nightlife, restaurants, all that good stuff. Let's check it out. Let's first start with Meisner Park. It's the main downtown that everybody knows about here in Boca Raton. It's north of Palmetto Park Road, just east of Federal Highway. It's got a lot going on. There's a lot of nightlife here. There's an amphitheater where they put on concerts. There's a museum of arts. There's boutique shops everywhere. There's an iPic movie theater. There's a big bowling alley here. There's restaurants and bars, and there's some really good ice cream shops. So this is a great place to go out. There's a lot of activity going on. It's a great spot for nightlife and just going out and enjoying yourself. And the next spot, I would say, if you move just a little south of downtown Mizner Park, is Royal Palm Place. Royal Palm Place, you could basically walk to from Mizner Park. So there's a lot going on between Mizner Park and Royal Palm Place right here on the map. There's a bunch more restaurants, shops. There's a lot of little bars over there too. So that's a great place to go out as well. The next spot I would say if you're looking for restaurants and stuff is anything east of Federal Highway off of Palmetto Park Road. There's a bunch of little restaurants scattered throughout that area. There's a lot of really good restaurants over there. So that's just another spot to check out. And this is basically the high-level gist of what downtown Boca Raton looks like and is and where to go in that area. The next spot worth mentioning here on the map is the Boca Raton Town Center Mall. It's a pretty cool spot. It's pretty fancy. They got a lot of nice restaurants and retail establishments in there. A lot of people go there just to kind of walk around, enjoy the vibe, and then grab some dinner. So check it out. Now let's move a little west here to the shops at Boca Center. It's just south of Glades, just east of Military, just west of 95. This place has some good restaurants in it, Rocco's Tacos as an example. You can grab some dinner here. You can grab some drinks with some maybe work colleagues. Also, Total Wine is in this shopping center, which is a massive liquor store. So this is just a great spot worth checking out. Now let's move out west and I will show you Uptown Boca here. It's just south of Glades Road, just east of 441. It's a nice new location. It's got a lot of fast casual food like Chick-fil-A, Bolé, Just Salad. It's got a Sloan's ice cream, which is awesome. So if you live out west here, you may frequent this location. Additionally, worth commenting on is out west, there's a lot more big box stores. So if you live in the east, you may come out west from time to time to go to some of these big box stores like Home Depot, Dick's Sporting Goods, and Target. So that's pretty much the gist of the big shopping / downtown areas in West Boca. I could probably go on and on about a ton of stuff you can do when you live here in Boca Raton and the surrounding areas. But real quick, I'll just mention a couple more that I spend a little bit of time doing. I love to scuba dive, and I've historically scuba dived out of the Hillsborough Inlet and the Boynton Inlet. Typically, there's less boats that actually go out of the Boca Inlet for diving, believe it or not. So we go out of the Hillsborough Inlet quite a bit, and we wreck dive, snorkel, reef dive. It's just a blast, and you can do that very easily when you live here in Boca. It's like a 5 to 15 minute drive to go dive whenever you want. So that's pretty cool. The other thing that we like to do a lot is kayak and paddleboard, and you can do that out of a lot of the beaches and parks here in the area. As we mentioned earlier, Spanish River has their own little drop ramp, which is pretty cool. So I think that sums up a bulk of what you can do from an outdoor activity perspective in the area when you live here. Let's talk schools now. Boca Raton is extremely well known for their public school systems. Also their private schools. They have a handful of private schools here, but they're really well known for their public schools. They're A+ rated. They're some of the best in the area, and a lot of families move to Boca Raton because of the awesome public school system here. Let me also tell you some additional information about the Palm Beach County school system. They're A rated. They have a 92.8% graduation rate. They have 167,000 students, which makes them the 10th largest school district in the United States. And they employ over 22,000 people. It's kind of a big deal. This school system is pretty big here in Palm Beach County. I'm going to quickly show you on the map here 2 private schools in Central Boca, Pinecrest and St. Andrew's School. They're both K through 8. I think they're both worth mentioning because I've sold homes to clients who have moved to the area specifically to be close to these 2 schools for their kids. And then there's 4 universities here in Boca Raton. The first one worth mentioning is Florida Atlantic University, just east of 95, just south of Spanish River, right here on the map. It's pretty big. There's 33,000 students here. I went to school at FAU. I did my undergrad in mechanical engineering and my master's in business. And as you can see, I haven't left. Now let's talk about Lynn University, a little west of FAU. It's got about 2,500 undergraduate students. And then Palm Beach State College is right next to Florida Atlantic University. And then there's Everglades University with about 2,000 undergraduate students. So that kind of concludes, I think, the general overview of schools here in Boca Raton. Okay, let me show you some of the neighborhoods in the area, and I'll also point out some of the new construction while we're doing this. All right, let's start with talking about some of the downtown condo construction. So we'll start by mentioning the Mandarin Oriental, just west of Federal Highway, just east of Camino right here, backs up to the Boca Raton Golf Club, also right next to the Boca Raton Resort, which is an awesome place to stay if you're coming to the area for a visit. Check it out. Check out some of our vlogs on that stuff. The next one is the Alina, also backs up to the Boca Raton Golf Club, right across the street from Royal Palm Place. It's pretty much sold out, I'm told, at this point. The next condo building under construction that's worth mentioning here, right in between downtown Boca and the beach, is Royal Palm Residences. You can see it right here, just south of Palmetto, just west of the Intracoastal. Pretty cool. They're going to have Intracoastal views. The next one I want to comment on is One South Ocean, under construction now as well. South of Palmetto, just west of A1A. So right across the street from the beach. That place is going to look really cool when it's done. They got a cool concept that they're rolling out. And then finally, another one worth mentioning is the Boca Beach Residences, almost done right now. Also sold out, I'm told, and this place is basically overlooking Lake Boca and the Boca Raton Inlet, which is really neat. So those are basically the main condos that are being built in the downtown Boca Raton area. Now, if you're thinking about buying a new construction single-family home in East Boca Raton, you're likely going to have to spend north of $4 million, and you're likely not going to be able to get into a development master planned community. You're buying a custom spec home, most likely. And so let me point out where these neighborhoods are, and also there's some of the cooler neighborhoods to mention, so we'll talk about these real quick. The Golden Triangle is the first neighborhood worth mentioning. It's just east of Meisner Park, just north of Palmetto Park Road. Right here, they're knocking down 1960s, 1970s, 1980s, 1990s type homes and putting up beautiful custom spec construction. Also, same thing is happening here just east of the Intracoastal and just west of A1A, north of Palmetto Park Road. Right here, same thing's going on. And then the same thing is happening on a lot of the Intracoastal and Canal communities all the way up, all the way north through Boca Raton. So up here in the northeast Boca Raton area, we're seeing a lot of that happening as well. And you're spending north of $4 million to get into a home that's new construction on the water as well. So you can see that neighborhood right here. That's what's going on there. And then some of the other neighborhoods that I really think are worth pointing out / pretty cool. One of the wealthiest neighborhoods in the area and in Boca Raton specifically is the Royal Palm Yacht and Country Club. It's right here just south of Camino Real, just east of Federal Highway. Homes in there going for north of $10 million up to maybe $40 million, something like that. And then Palm Beach Farms is another neighborhood that I like. It's not as high end as some of these other neighborhoods I just mentioned, but it's definitely on its way up. There's some new construction going on in there. It's a beautiful neighborhood just east of 95 and along the north and south end of Southwest 18th right here, all the way to the canal systems. So some of these adjacent neighborhoods are really pretty as well. And then you have to mention, when you talk about Boca Raton, East Boca Raton specifically, you have to mention Old Floresta. This neighborhood is really cool. Old Floresta, historic district. Some of the homes are being knocked down there and they're putting up beautiful, huge custom construction there. So there's beautiful homes going up here. And then there's also some very cool old homes. And in this neighborhood, there's a lot of older trees. So there's a lot of big, huge trees in the neighborhood. So it's very pretty to walk through this neighborhood. Really cool, worth mentioning as always. So that kind of covers East Boca, some really cool neighborhoods, and also where a lot of the new construction is happening. And if you want to learn more about other neighborhoods here in Boca, I've probably done a video on most neighborhoods in Boca Raton and most condos. So check out our vlog, check out our YouTube channel to see more of the specific neighborhood analysis for each one of these. Now, as we move further west here, I'll mention two other new construction communities. There's not a whole lot of space to build new construction here in Boca. As you know, we have some limitations. We have the Everglades all the way to our west, and everything else has pretty much been built out. So let's talk about Nuevo Boca. It's right here on the map, just south of Camino Real, just west of Military. They're building 137 townhomes and 115 single-family homes according to the site plan. So we'll see how that goes. That's underway right now. And then the other new construction site is Lotus Palm, which is just north of Glades and just west of the Turnpike here in Boca. Another really awesome community. They've built other communities here in Boca Raton before. And so those are the two big new developments that are going on in Boca Raton, that's west of 95. There's so many other amazing neighborhoods in Boca Raton that I'm just glossing over. But if you want to learn more about some of those neighborhoods, check out our YouTube channel. I've done a video on a lot of the neighborhoods here in Boca. All right, I think I've extended this video long enough with my rambling. I hope you found some value. Thank you for watching. If this was valuable to you, hit the subscribe button, tap the bell for notifications, give me a like. There's more content like this about living in South Florida on our channel. And remember, if you are thinking about making the move to the South Florida market, please don't hesitate to reach out, shoot us an email, give us a call, send us a text. We'd love to be the ones to help you make that smooth move to South Florida. See you soon.